One of the most popular options for making money with your photography is teaching workshops. This is something that's really become popular in the last 20 years or more. A lot of photographers have taken advantage of the fact that there's a growing number of people interested in photography, whether it's just with their cell phone or whether it's with a full-size digital camera. I haven't branched into teaching workshops personally, except for one-on-one mentorships, which I do offer. You can find those on my website. I've looked at it as really just kind of being a big can of worms that I've not wanted to get involved in. There's a lot of things about it that people don't know that some photographers are doing, that they're actually even breaking the law. If you're teaching classes in national parks, even in some state parks, you're supposed to have a license. There's all sorts of permissions you need, insurance requirements that you should have to protect the people in case something happens to them on your workshop. There's so many things that can go wrong in my mind with taking a group of people out in the field and trying to teach them how to do photography. The logistics are just not worth it for me. So if you're interested in learning from me, I do offer mentorships. I do it by the hour. It starts at about $100 an hour and then goes down from there the more hours you book. I can do it in person if you live here in Utah. I can do them on Zoom calls. I have many different options. I will cover everything from basics of how to use your camera to websites to selling your stuff in art shows to all the stuff I've touched on here, except for the things I really don't know about, like workshops. I did attend a workshop recently, this last fall in September. It's the first workshop I ever attended. I've never been one. I've thought about it, but I've never been one to get out and attend other people's workshops. Some of it was because I didn't think I'd learn much from somebody else. I know that sounds vain, whatever. And some of it was the fact that I just really wasn't that interested in getting to know any of those photographers that specifically. I did take that workshop from Rodney Lowe Jr. I talk about this in my Colorado photography video that I've got. I'll put right up there. I found out about Rodney years ago when I went to one of his galleries and just was in awe. And since then, I've just been a big fan of his. I'm not that big of a fan of most people's work. I don't know why. I mean, I think a lot of people have great work, and I comment on people's work on social media and tell them how nice it is and how much I love a piece and stuff. But it's not something I've gone out of my way to try to be a fan of theirs in that sense of attending a workshop. So I signed up for that workshop with Rodney Lowe Jr. and found out that it was the last workshop he was ever teaching. So I jumped on it, and it was really fun getting to know him. The best thing you're going to find about workshops, especially group workshops where there's other attendees, is making friends with people. Building that rapport with the photographer that's teaching it is great, but you're also going to make contacts with other photographers, other people. The people that attended Rodney's workshop ranged from not knowing anything about photography, but they were a fan of his and wanted to learn, to people that were about as advanced as me. They weren't trying to openly sell their photographs, but they had really advanced equipment and were really good at taking photographs. So that's the fun thing about attending workshops, is the people that you're going to meet and get to know. The other thing, and was one of the big reasons I've thought a lot about taking workshops from people over the years, is learning their secret places. They'll take you to these cool places that you may be able to find on your own if you do a lot of research, but it can be difficult. One of the case in points was Rodney took us down to Crystal Mill. Crystal Mill in Colorado is a area that you could drive into. It takes a high clearance four-wheel drive vehicle to get to it. I did not want to try to risk that without having been there before and knowing what the road conditions were like. Well, we went in rental vehicles that Rodney had, and it worked out awesome. Being able to get in there, the light wasn't great, the colors weren't great. It didn't matter. I got to get in there and see this thing that's an iconic thing that people want to photograph. Yeah, I'm probably going to go back in a year or so and photograph it because I want a good photograph of it, even though it's an iconic thing. But that's one of the big pluses to taking a workshop with somebody, is being able to see their little hidden gems, these places that they like to go and photograph in that area that other people might not know about. Rodney pointed out numerous places to us there in the area where we photographed outside of Crested Butte that he has photographed over the years and pointed these things out to us that I was aware of the photographs he was pointing out to us. I was like, oh, really? That's where you took that? Wow. So there's a lot of fun in that, in getting to hang out with the photographer, look through their eyes, see the world through their eyes, and get them to show you what they're seeing and how they're visualizing a composition. So workshops are a great thing, just not something I've expanded into, but I love teaching. I thoroughly love teaching. It's just something I've not really been that interested in. Another way to monetize your nature landscape photography is through merchandise. So by merchandise, I mean puzzles, calendars, mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, those kind of things. I don't have a ton of experience in that end of it. I've never thought there was a whole lot of money to be made because you have to move so much volume to make any kind of profit. A classic example is calendars. So I know some guys, it's their biggest source of income is once a year selling calendars. How they're doing it is they're doing pre-orders. So they're literally putting it out there on social media and through their email list and stuff that they are doing calendars, taking orders for calendars, showing what the calendar will look like. People place orders. Once the cutoff hits, then they know how many to order, and then they add some. That way they're not ordering 1,000 calendars, 2,000 calendars, whatever it may be, and just having to try to figure out how to sell them. That's the biggest problem with having merchandise. If you have it made up front, how do you move it? I sell quite a few puzzles on occasion, mostly at shows, but I do sell some online. And I found the best way to sell puzzles is to be able to order them where I can spread the order out through multiple images. I use a company called Puzzles Unlimited. They're a UK-based company. They have an office in Canada now, and they've been really good to work with. I can order a minimum of 64 puzzles, but I can divide it between 4 images. So I can get 16 puzzles per image. I think that's the right math. And that way I'm not stuck with thousands of puzzles or 1,000 or even 500 puzzles of one image that I've got to try to move. That's the biggest problem with it. Most of that merchandise is if you order large quantities to get the price point down, you're going to end up with a whole bunch of inventory that you're not going to be able to move very fast unless you're really, really well known. For instance, those puzzles through Puzzles Unlimited cost me about $13 a pop. So I order 64 of them and I'm sitting at about $800 with shipping. They include the shipping in that price. At $13 a pop, I've got to try to sell them for $25. So I find it something that I do, just here and there for shows and to have a few on my website. I'm thinking about doing a pre-order where I put out there that I'm going to place an order like I would with calendars and let people know they can pick one of these images, pre-order a puzzle of it, and when it's said and done, hopefully I've got enough sold that I can move those 64 right up front. So that's one of the options to being able to move merchandise. If you're not well known and you don't want to have to order and get in a whole load of it, you can do pre-orders like that and then place an order once you've got so many people committed and paid up front to buy them. So the last thing we need to talk about is social media. Well, that's about all I know about that. Social media has been one of the biggest ways people have become known as photographers in the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's gotten really huge for some people through Instagram and YouTube. Those are the two big sources. Facebook, not so much. It's pretty much been Instagram and YouTube. I personally have not gotten very well known on social media. I don't feel too bad about it because it's really not my business model. I was talking with Rodney Lowe Jr. about that and about, made some funny comment that I've only got like 190 subscribers on YouTube. And he said, don't feel bad. I've only got 500, you know? So it's one of those things where, you know, is it just where you want to go? Is it where you want to expend your energy? I did make a commitment to myself to try to put out a video every week, a good video every week, to try to increase my YouTube following. When I was talking to Rodney about it, I said, I know how to get successful on YouTube. And he's like, really, Tom, how? I'm like, well, it's a pretty simple recipe. I said, you have to make good videos, good quality videos with good sound that are entertaining, interactive, that people are going to enjoy watching. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, you got to publish regularly, weekly or semi-weekly, or at least monthly, preferably weekly until you get known. Then you can back off some. But you know, if you're not publishing regularly enough, you're not going to retain subscribers. You're not going to get the views that you need. It's like, yeah, I've heard that. You know, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So, but the third thing, the most important thing, is something that everybody should know. And it's really simple and basic. And he's like, what? And I said, you got to be a young, good looking blonde, or, you know, brunette, and you got to show your legs and your boobs off all the time. He's just like, whatever. But it's the truth. It's so true. I subscribe to numerous channels like that. I watch them because of the content. It's good content. Like Dr. Hannah, she lives in a camper truck and travels around, mostly around the Tahoe and, you know, Nevada area, living in her truck and doing her videos about her experience of living in a truck, her adventures. It's so fun to watch. She's very entertaining, but she's always showing herself off in a bikini, which isn't why I watch it. She's like the age of my daughter. I mean, come on, you know. But she's entertaining and fun to watch, but she understands she's got it. She needs to flaunt it. So another one I like to watch is Jonna, I think is how you pronounce her name, Jonna Yinten in Sweden. She is fantastic. It's been really fun watching her go, though I found out about her later on when she had already 4 million subscribers. But I've gone back and watched her early videos from 11 years ago when she started. And it's been really fun watching her go from this maybe 23-year-old girl, I don't know how old she is, but she was probably 23 11 years ago, that was doing really shaky, crappy videos just with her phone of her and her little puppy, to watch her grow as an artist and advance and start producing such spectacular video content, and to watch her dog, Nanak, grow up. Yeah, and now he's an old dog. He's getting old, and he's not going to be around a whole lot longer. To watch her get married, to just watch her life go, and to watch her become, as I said, such a crazy good artist. She's a great photographer, does fantastic videography, and she's making jewelry and paints. And I bought one of her pieces of jewelry, the Wild Collection, for my wife, and it's sitting at home under the Christmas tree right now. You know, I'm really excited for my wife to see it. So I just love Joanna's work and everything she does. Another one that I enjoy is Wild Bear. She's over in the UK. She does wild camping, which is what we call backpacking, where she's going out solo by herself and camping out in the mountains of the UK. A lot of times she's over in Wales and places like that. I love watching her content. She's really interesting, fun to watch. I joke about some of the places she chooses to camp because I went camp there. It's windy and nasty in those spots she picks. But I get it. She's doing it to pick up, you know, reviews, to pick up views, to get people to watch her, because it's interesting to watch her camp in these rugged spots that are windswept and just about knocking her tent over. So, but she's also one that likes to show off her legs. She'll go in shorts and go wade around in the stream or a lake and stuff. Anyway, so if you're going to do a YouTube channel, here's my take on it. You've got to put out good content. It's got to have good sound, good video quality, and it's got to be interesting and entertaining. If your quality is bad, like this clip, you know, and instructional videos, and sell presets for Lightroom and stuff, then social media is a great way to go. You can, you know, if you people aren't going to enjoy it. That was take one of what I'm talking about right now, and it was so windy I couldn't do it. There's some background noise right here where I am, somebody cutting trees back over here and stuff, but I don't think this mic's going to pick it up that much, so I'm not worrying about it. but you got to have good quality video and sound for people to enjoy your videos. You also need to have interesting content, that's something I've really struggled with, trying to come out with content that people are going to find intriguing, interesting, funny. I mean, it's hit or miss with me, and I'm working on getting better at it. That's what YouTube needs to be. It's what any of your art needs to be, is a learning process of where you grow, where you look at yourself, you reevaluate what you're doing, and you try to improve yourself. Find people that will tell you, that sucks. Find people that will be honest with you and literally critique your work honestly, and not just say, oh, that's lovely, dear, I love that. That just doesn't work. You've got to have people that will tell you how it really is and what you need to do to make it better. It's really that way with anything. You've got to explore and find out with social media what other people are doing to make themselves successful, and then try to copy them. Not mimic, but copy their success. Whether it's posting regularly, finding out the content they're doing, and if you like that content and want to start doing that, do your own take on it, do your own version of it, put your own self into it, make it yourself, be yourself on camera. Don't try to be somebody else, just be who you are, be natural. And when you're talking to the camera, talk like you're talking to a friend. Don't talk like a robot. Don't be a, hi, I'm Tom and I'm really excited to be here kind of person. Talk like you're having fun. You've got to make it have fun. You've got to have the energy in it to make people want to continue watching. So with all that said, I'm going to go poke around in here and look for some fox. There's fox that hang out in here, and it's always fun to see if you can photograph them in this area. I still have yet to get some good photographs in here of fox. I've got some in another location that they get fed, and you can just shoot them right over a fence like they're in a farm or something, and I haven't put any of those out. But I like walking this park. This is a big park here in the Salt Lake Valley that's just fun to walk and look for birds and fox and just whatever you might find. And so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this rather long tutorial on how to monetize your photography. It's tough, like I said. It's difficult to make good money doing it, but you can have fun and make money on the side, great. And if you can turn it into a full-time job, even greater, or as I've been saying all along, more power to you. Happy trails.